good bit.
I thought all that was on there. Oh,
No, Facebook's on now. So we have to behave.
We do now.
No, just don't drop any F-bombs.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. I'm Michael Morris, and with me, as well, let's just say almost every other week, Andrew Leachman. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Michael?
Good. You seem really excited. I'm excited because we have somebody filling in for Madison who is on assignment again in Arizona, I guess.
Well, he has better hair than Madison, I'd like to point out.
Listen, I think we should put that. We had Meg on from the Cut Columbus. This guy should be the one she's like bragging about.
That's high praise. I don't know if that's...
Listen.
He's got a good fade into his beard. It's all the right length.
If
He's
you look
shaved
on
up.
Facebook...
He looks like he should be on TV, but we're on radio, so...
Listen, the two of you should have like a country band together. You got these shirts on. They got these...
Flannel and
I
plaid.
can play guitar.
Yep, flannel
And
and
mandolin,
plaid.
too. A little
Well,
bit of mandolin.
The good news is that's why we have you here, Rob. We want to talk just about the mandolin.
Audition time?
And
1
are there
hour.
a lot of songs that use mandolin in them? You
There's
seem to
ton of
be an
songs,
expert.
Yeah.
All right, well, we should
Led
introduce...
Zeppelin back in the day?
Lion Eyes.
He goes in
Lion
the
Eyes.
classic rock
Yeah.
mandolin.
And Mandolin Rain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, mandolin rain. Juan Thomas. With
Bruce Hornsby.
This is not a music show.
Lion
Jim.
Eyes went Grammy.
So the reason we have Rob in today is Rob is from Feazel Roofing and has been there more than a few years, fair to say.
Yep, a couple years, actually. Yeah.
And what I think is cool is we actually have Andrew and Rob work together so we can kind of feed off both of them the history of the company, because Andrew is newer to the company than Rob is, but you guys are both seeing the technology of what you're using, that you're putting in play now, and where it's going. So what I'd like to do, Rob, is I'd like to kind of start with how you came to Feazel.
Sure. So I was doing marketing for an IT consulting firm here in Columbus, and I knew the former marketing director at Feazel recommended me for the job, and it was, luckily got the gig and got hired in, and immediately just, it was my pace. Everything started off in my former job. It was business to business marketing, so a little bit slower. Things don't move, down the line as quickly as they do with Feazel. My first day with Feazel was, going to the Columbus Home and Garden Show and breaking down our trade show booth and having no idea or experience with, the setup and who to talk to and where to go. And, I'm getting phone calls like, left and right already of like, okay, what do we do with this? What do we do now? So it was clear right from the gig. I didn't even think I stepped in my office until noon on my first day. It was a nice introduction to how the pace was, and it's been nonstop ever since, and it's been a great ride.
With a totally different background when you're dealing with the public versus business to business. I mean, there's a lot more grassroots, boots on the ground type thing versus I'm just going to do this marketing strategy and hopefully this slow crawl will build. I mean, every single day you're dealing with the public.
Right.
And that's not really part of the job description, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, it went from, trying to develop relationships in a very, very long term from business to business to finding out and, the how and the why around, what people are buying, how are they buying, especially for roofing. And, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail.
Hopefully
but, we will. People don't buy roofs for fun. It's not we always say it's a needs-based industry. No one wants to go out and purchase a roof, because they're bored, like cruising Amazon or anything.
Well, I actually like to make the joke that I'd rather be selling $10,000 socks.
Yeah.
Because at least people could wear them, show them off, and tell their friends about them.
Yeah.
But instead, you got to buy the $10,000 roof that keeps all of your socks nice and dry.
Well, so I've got a question about that, because that is everybody who talks about a roof. It's kind of like a dentist. Like we had Dr. Ping Sauer in last week. Ping. It's something
you know clean, so you know ping clean.
That was last week. We're not doing the dental show. But shout out to Dr. Ping anyway. But when we talk, you tell me about when you're seeing people, Andrew, that it's something they have to have. You can't get around it, and it's more like they're kind of upset that they need it, right?
Yeah.
So you guys have two different. Rob's job is to get people to call, and yours is to service it, and both of you are in the position where it's something they don't want to call you. Right?
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like, I always say it's kind of like tires, like you have to get, like if you're in a situation where you have to get new tires, you are not excited to go get new tires, but you absolutely 100% need it, you know, and if not, you're either sliding all over the place, or you know, I mean, it's always a horrible purchase. It's like one of those adult purchases, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
like, you know, and you never get to work and be like,
You don't get to
guess what I
brag
bought?
about it, yeah.
Guess what I bought today?
Everybody
you know?
come
Yeah,
check
but
out my
at
new
least-
roof.
at
I'm
least-
having a roof party.
At least with tires, you can like feel it.
That's true.
You can like you get like when you get an oil change, or after you wash your car, and you're like, man, my car is driving better.
Yeah.
It's probably not driving better, but you think it is. It's
Right.
a
I'm getting better gas mileage. It's like,
yeah,
okay, well,
yeah. So there's like that little bit of a transfer, but the roof, unless they, I mean, sometimes when people have massive amounts of leaking, then it is something that they just put off for so long in multiple spots. Like, wow, it does this when it rains really hard from the east, and it gets a leak over here when it rains really hard from the south, and it's like, okay, well, your roof is shot. Like, we got to replace it, and that's when you see the transfer. But when people just are doing it preemptively, it is just it's a painful purchase. I mean, they say that on average, everybody will have to buy one roof in a lifetime. Sometimes it's 2 or 3, and I feel unfortunate. It's unfortunate for some people, but it's something you have to buy, something you have to take care of, protect your home, protect your property, and everything inside of it.
Well, let me ask you, Rob. So, when you're doing the marketing for this, when you first rolled in, you kind of came in as the company was a little bit past the initial transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Feazel's been around for a long time,
Right.
But then the 30 years, but the transition piece, you're kind of on the transition team, right? So
Right.
now here's our new objectives, here's our strategies. Kind of tell some people how that is, because I look at you almost like you're running your own business inside of a business.
Yeah,
So you are responsible for numbers and production, right?
sure.
So when you get in there, do you have any say in here's where we're going with this, or is it more kind of like fed down and you've got to figure it out?
No, that's good. And shout out to the former marketing director, you know, because when Feazel started, or when the ownership was, you know, kind of changed hands in 2013, they really did do a complete rebrand. And he laid a great foundation for me to walk in on and sort of continue as normal until, you know, we wanted to develop new assets like, you know, maybe a different brand strategy or some of our creative or commercials or copy and, you know, paid media online. So he did lay a great foundation, but what's really good at Feazel is the, you know, kind of the head leadership wants to have a very, very active role in the marketing aspect. You know, these are guys that they've been in this industry since, you know, they were teenagers, and starting from, you know, picking up shingles on the ground on one of the crews to eventually, you know, selling and then being in charge of a sales team, going all over the country, and now they're responsible for the business. So they have a very, very you know, good pulse on what it means for our customers and how we can take the brand into different directions. So I work with them on a daily basis, and while I might present some new elements or you know, a strategy that maybe I think would be beneficial down the road, they always are wanting to be involved in those conversations. You know,
They're highly intelligent guys.
Yeah.
And
and if we're talking
get it.
to our, you know, maybe some of our creative agency or some of our paid media strategists who handle all of our Google, you know, paid media ads, they want to know the nitty gritty, you know, on a very granular level. They want to see what we're outputting, and they like the fact that, you know, they can kind of have me, you know, kind of take the reins and do what needs to be done and not have to worry about things getting to the finish line. But you know, we just filmed some new commercials last year. We're going to be filming some this year. I mean, they're on every creative production meeting, you know, which is, you normally don't see that. You know,
No, you don't.
You see a lot of top level guys sort of take a step back, and then when things are almost to the finish line, you know, guys in my position, you get all this pushback. Well, like, I didn't like that idea. Let's start again. Like, let's do this over.
Right, as you're 90% through the kick.
I'm familiar with that.
Oh yeah. Well, you are. I can tell you at least once a week, someone tells me something that's like, I know we're gonna do this. I know it's set to roll out Monday. Let's scrap all of that and start
Right.
over. And I'm like, guess what? We're not gonna do. But I'm in a different position, so you have something to
Yeah.
report to. We do not. But it is frustrating when you have a concept and you want to
Mhm.
bring it to market, and then if someone's not part of that chain and doesn't see all of this, it can blow up months worth of work.
Yeah, oh yeah. And for the things that have been a little different, maybe against the grain or changing things up, they've been very receptive to that. And most of that'll come from me. I'll say like, let's change our, the way we present some of our commercial spots or some of our creative assets that we do online. Might be a little pushback in the beginning, but that pushback comes in the beginning, not near the end of the process.
Right.
So, I feel like we have a pretty good output of a lot of our creative marketing aspects. So it's a good thing to have.
The guys we have in leadership are they're opinionated and not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
They let you know. I mean, there's no like they won't blow smoke if they don't
Yeah.
like an idea. Like Ross will absolutely tell you he doesn't like something to your face right when you say it if you said it. And same with even you got the Matt Sherry where it's he doesn't like they won't go along with something. They won't just tell you kick the can down the road
Right.
and let you keep working and wasting your time. If they don't like something, they change direction on it. And that's with sales and the approach that I get on the more of the marketing and not only the marketing but just getting out and knocking on doors and trying to drum business up and how we go about that. And there's a whole bevy of things that are made easier for me because of the stuff that Rob is doing. And then, you can knock on somebody's door with a Feazel shirt and they don't think you're going to rob the place.
Mm-hmm.
Are there roofing companies that rob the place?
I don't know if
We
there are
should tell
roofing
people
companies,
in
but just in general, people's fear of opening the door or solicitors or things that people run into and knocking on their door and they see a Feazel shirt and they recognize us as, we've been here for 30 years. We're flying banners around. We're advertising around the Jackets games. So the whole system.
Oh yeah, I
of
did
things-
see the
Yeah, the whole
Jackets.
system of things we're doing and expanding and always growing and always changing our course.
Let me ask you this: do you think that, and this is just more how I'm picturing this, like Leo when he buys the company, is it because he started on the ground floor and worked his way through that he? Because it seems the way that Andrew discusses the company, it's kind of like almost like it's a collective, like it's one mind of all these things. Because it seems like the marketing falls in line with the sales, so it's not a matter of Andrew's been a part of a roofing company that didn't care about one more than the other, so the service part really wasn't as important as the revenue, and that falls off, or the marketing's a mess.
I was trying to do the marketing, sales manager, and develop all the creative and sell.
Right, but you
And you
saw
get the
you saw
11th
the bad
hour
part.
and the pushback, and we'd have commercials recorded, things recorded, and they're like, "Well, we don't like that," and they change the entire script and have a 15-second spot, which means you really have like 13 seconds to get out 3 sentences, which just isn't possible. Just things that people are unfamiliar with and unrealistic expectations. So it's nice. I just know that Rob doesn't have to run into that type of stuff.
But I think what's cool is it does seem like it's seamless.
It is.
At least from the outside,
It
from
is,
what I've
inside.
heard. It just seems like it starts at the top, but it's not. There's not like these kind of 3 divisions of it. Like here's the top, here's our grunts, and these are the 1099 guys or whoever that are going to actually do the work. It seems like it's all throughout the company. And is that something that was set up? It could have existed before Leo took it over, but in your experience, are you kind of seeing that where the top level guys and the guys at the bottom all have the same thought?
I think so, and I think that comes from. It's funny. I feel like the outsider in the not in the company, but like coming in, because so many of these guys they've known each other for so long. This industry is pretty close knit, and you can talk to our ownership, whether it be Ross or Leo or Matt, for instance, and you bring up somebody that's in Cleveland or companies out in other states like North Carolina or recently Atlanta got hit with a bunch of storms, and they're bringing up names and companies that they so everybody knows everybody.
Right.
And I think what helps that whole process at Feazel is that because everyone's so close knit, there really isn't this like imbalance of power
Or like a division.
Yeah, everyone knows everyone. It's they've been working together for such a long time, and they've worked together to become successful rather than someone bringing this thing up from their own vision or mentality of how they thought things were going to go or where they wanted it. It's been 100% like a full team effort.
Or like a culture? Do you think that's
There
what
is,
you?
yeah.
Because the people I've seen from Feazel all kind of look like you. Like it's not your roofing guy who has the torn jeans and paint spatter all over himself and
Chuck
drives
a
a
truck.
dirt. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like for a roofing company, you guys seem very clean. Is that, Am I saying that right?
That's
I mean,
right.
it's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
that.
we all take showers and we don't wear.
I don't
dirty
mean your
clothes.
hygiene. I question yours, Beardy.
You
But
should.
what I'm looking at is like when I see those trucks, it seems very pristine, and then in your TV spots, it seems very clean. So there's nobody standing on a roof and pounding in shingles like you see that approach or the storm chaser approach. It seems that you build a culture that we're going to be here today, we're going to be here tomorrow, and in the future.
It's just successful branding.
Yeah,
top
and
to bottom.
I think you should totally take what I just said because you could steal that. Like I literally just gave him like a catchphrase.
From the marketing aspect, I mean, that you definitely hit it. I mean, it's super important for our customers and our potential customers to know that we are in the fabric of the community. So that's why we don't service an area that we don't have brick and mortar shop. So we like to make sure that, like I said, all our customers know that we're here. We're localized. We have boots on the ground that. They didn't come from out of state. They live here, they work here, they play here. Localized, everything from localized phone numbers and literature that we can hand out. Like there's a physical address attached to our name. We didn't roll in from Columbus. Last year's a good example. We opened up our first out of state office in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was huge to where folks knew that. We're not just rolling in from Columbus, trying to gather some business and then heading out. Here's a picture of our brick and mortar shop. You can come into the office. Here's the phone number. The Feazel website has all of the locations on there with address and info. To kind of hammer that point home that we're here, and we call it a hyper local strategy around the office. We want to make sure that everyone knows that we're a local company. That we're going to be here again, like you said, today, tomorrow, for everything. So yeah, you got it.
Worked.
I mean,
it
worked.
It was actually Andrew's idea. So when you're taking that strategy in your marketing approach, but you have to believe in your guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things we talk about on this show is when you're a small business and an entrepreneur, if you're gonna put people in shirts or in trucks or anything that has your name on it, they've got to have the same core values as you, right? So just because Andrew's on the roof doesn't mean that he can think in a completely different way than you can, right? So does that even funnel down to like your HR or hiring people?
Oh, for sure. And Matt Sherry, the VP of Sales at Feazel, I mean, he has similarly to where the president and the CEO of the company are very involved in the marketing process. He likes to have a good beat on anybody that's walking through the door, whether that's salesmen or canvassers for the neighborhoods. I mean, he wants to know, down to the individual who's going to be answering the phones. He takes a good portion of his time to look at everything from the entire sales process. So yeah, I mean, it starts from every angle of the company, making sure that everyone's kind of brought through the same level of education, whether that be sales, marketing, or administratively. This is how we do things, and to everyone's credit, it's why things have been successful, because there's no one's going off the cuff. It's hard when a nice problem to have with expansion is that you have a lot of new people, and you have a lot of things to manage in other offices outside of your headquarters, for lack of a better word. But we've streamlined a lot of elements of the sales and the marketing to make sure that people know exactly what to do in every single scenario.
Does that include when there's complaints that come in? I mean, is that one of the things like that you even have somebody, if they're unhappy with something, it's not to put it off, right? Because a lot of roofing or service companies, they won't answer the phone.
Like we actually have a lifetime warranty on materials and labor of any roof we put on. And I found it interesting. I mean, we put on 20 roofs a day all summer long. So we're putting on thousands of roofs, thousands of
what?
roofs. And
Did you say 20
roofs a day all summer long.
Wow.
So we're putting, so you're going to have some situations that arise. I mean, nobody's ever perfect, but that's why we have the warranty in place. It's a bet on how good the quality of work we're doing. And if something would, God forsake, happen, I like this year that we had some warranty calls where there was some small leaks, something going on. It wasn't me, it wasn't other salesmen handling it. It was the VP of Sales and our CEO, Ross.
Which is totally
We're showing up people's, I'm the CEO, here to look at your house. What's going on? Let's find this leak. Let's figure it out. So people are getting the guys running the company in their house after we put a roof on for them. I don't know any other company that's doing that.
And if there's a particular scenario where for some reason we did miss the mark, we do our best to respond to. We're not going to delete your comment or anywhere someone can leave reviews. We recognize the fact that there could have been something that we might have missed or miscommunication. But to follow up on Andrew's point, our CEO will personally reach out to these folks, and try to right the ship and make the situation as best as possible, because again, it's a pain purchase and it's a big ticket purchase, so when you have those two things, and something goes wrong or, it wasn't what you expected, that hurts for a while. So we do our best to manage that to where the top level leadership's the one who's reaching out.
How do you feel knowing that it's a pain purchase? I know that Andrew likes the challenge. I know that. He likes dealing with all kinds of people, but being that it's a pain purchase, your job is to fill that sales funnel, right? Mm-hmm. So when you go, do you take it home with you too? Or are you able to kind of shut it off?
I think I'm able to shut it off. And it's a pain purchase, but we kind of use that, almost like a tongue-in-cheek marketing, where, we kind of went in a different direction last year where one of our broadcast spots has a young couple who they're excited that the roof is leaking. That, so she greets him at the door and says, our roof is finally leaking, and they're elated and they're like hugging and, just like, we finally get a new roof. Like, and we know that that's not the conversation, right. So we take that and, we can say,
relief almost.
Yeah, we can say that, like, we know it's not like this, and that's why we always offer a lifetime warranty, price match guarantee, and 12 months same as cash financing. Because whenever that does happen, we don't have like this, one time fire sale. It's no. We know that this is usually never revolving around a good opportunity or something that you've prepared for. So we're going to always offer these services to make it as easy as possible, no matter what.
Andrew, do you feel the same? You feel good about what you're doing with Feazel, right?
Yeah, I actually tell people it's inevitable that something sometimes goes wrong. And I tell people, don't judge us by that. Judge us by how we respond when something actually does go wrong. It's inevitable. So we do a good job, especially in the situation where if you've got a little bit of a leak coming in around your chimney or something after we put the roof on, and our CEO's out there taking a look at it, and we're going to make it right and fix it, and no pain and no fuss out of you. I can't think of a better situation for how that could actually be handled. Given the industry.
You can, and you've been in the exact opposite situation.
Yeah, so I can imagine.
You seem a lot happier these days. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because of Rob, though. Let's not.
Rob makes my job easier. I do recognize that he's in the office and he's working, and
he knows a lot about the mandolin.
He does know a lot about the mandolin.
That's pretty tight right there.
He plays in lunch hours.
You're going to get that a lot.
Yeah.
I want to take a break right now because we've been going for a while, but we will come back. I've got something that I don't think it's going to trip you up, but I really want you to emphasize the difference here. You're listening to the 101 brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. I said Lincoln Financial. I said it the other day. We weren't doing this, and I said it in the office, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. I messed up.
Yep, we'll do that.
So I want to go in a competition, but I want to talk about. So when I think about the Moose Roofing and all this other shit, I remember that guy years ago saying there's a fucking storm in Alabama. We're taking all our shit down there, and then we're coming back, and they were really into that. I want to talk about how you guys separate yourself, not just from a marketing aspect, but as a company. What are your core values? Then we can get into the technology of that Robin deal. Cool. Yeah. Sleepy, you good?
Yeah, texting Matt Sherry right now.
I think he's in shower, actually.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Ready to roll?
Yep. Welcome back to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. Again, I want to reintroduce. I've got Andrew Leachman here and our guest, Rob Thomas, both from Feazel. This is probably the only time that's going to happen, that two people would be from the same company.
Probably.
Let's hope we can have that over and over.
The marketing strategy is so good, I felt like we had to get Rob in.
No, listen, this is my favorite topic. I don't whenever anyone talks about their brick and mortar, I'm like, just tell me how you market the thing. That's what I really love.
Yeah. There's a ton of different strategies.
Yeah, and we've got a marketing guy here, and before break, Rob, I said I wanted, it's not to trip you up, but I want you to really dig into this answer. So you
I didn't
have
study at all.
Yeah, I'm the only one that has notes, and I haven't even referred to them. When you are comparing Feazel versus these other roofing companies, because there are a lot of the storm chaser aspect. I'm going to take my whole company from Columbus, and for 2 months I'm going to go to Alabama. I heard someone say that when I was working at a radio station. This roofer was so excited because people's houses were devastated. They were going to go down, but they couldn't service it after the fact. There was no lifetime warranty. Call us after this.
Right.
Like you said, we've got a brick and mortar business. And I thought, as a consumer, if I had heard that, I would have been furious. But how many other people do the same thing? You said you've got a brick and mortar everywhere you do business. But what I want to know is, what is the difference? What's the core belief of Feazel versus your competitor? Because there's a lot of them out there.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a great question, and I think these words get thrown out a lot when it comes to kind of generating business value. But one of our core phrases is quality and integrity every time, and that's not by accident, or we didn't just pick that to
because it sounded good.
Right,
It looks
'cause it
good on a
sounded
bumper
good.
sticker.
We did that for the exact points that you're making. There's a lot of stigma around the home improvement industry or construction or contractors. Whether it's personal or somebody, everybody's heard a story or has a story of I have this problem at my house, or I'm replacing my kitchen floors, or we're getting a new bathroom or something, and it's never like, yeah, they were in and out, I didn't need to be there, and it was great, and I didn't have any problems. It's usually plagued with timing issues, scheduling issues, payment issues, something being wrong. So we purposely want to make it super apparent that we take our job very seriously, and we know that there is a stigma of contractors. It's funny, I know there's a commercial, I can't remember what the company's for, but
Please call them out if you can remember it. If it's bad, call
no,
them.
it's really good. And
let's
I
steal
don't
that.
know what it was for necessarily, but it's this couple at a table, and they're talking to a contractor, but they're speaking like,
Oh yeah,
honestly,
yes. And he says
like,
something
if
like,
everybody would
"We're
just
going
say
to
what-
be late,
yeah,
and we're going
hey,
to
we're gonna put it in the wrong
you."
thing,
Yes.
charge
Is that
them like,
Angie's, is that
great.
Angie's list?
Man, I can't remember.
It's something like that, but it is a great commercial because they're being really nice
Yeah.
to each other, and he's saying, "We're totally going to screw this up, and we're not going to get back to you when you call."
And even the husband in the scenario, he's like, all right, I'm going to take a look at your paper and act like I know what I'm reading and just blatantly sign,
Right.
I mean, so we've all been in that scenario. And, being in the industry and trying to, get the pulse of what and how people are buying, we know that that's in the back of their head. So we want to make sure that whether it's through our any of our broadcast spots or other marketing efforts, but mostly just in the brand itself. That's why we do offer those services, like our no questions asked, no middleman lifetime warranty. If you buy a roof with Feazel, we're going to service it.
Well,
if something
when you
happens.
say no middleman, what do you mean exactly by that?
So there's a lot of folks don't know, when you get a new roof, you can actually have two different warranties, one through the manufacturer and one through the installer. So if something does go wrong, hey, something's wrong with my roof. Oh, well, it's not my problem. You'll have to contact the installer. And then you do the same thing, and they're like, well, our materials are good. Like, they installed it wrong. So you just go through this back and forth, and you actually start to become the middleman,
Right.
because they're obviously the installer and the manufacturer aren't going to try and speak to each other to resolve the situation. So it's like, what, we service the roof. Anything happens, give us a call. To the point where, if you put a new roof on, you sell the home, you can transfer that warranty to the new homeowner within the first 10 years. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and you don't have to have a card that you save or refresh or
Send a postcard in every 5 years. for your
postcard, and
materials.
you're in the
Is that a
system.
thing?
You purchased
Yeah,
a new
and,
roof.
and the
we got it.
materials warranty I was going to point out is
So that's
usually
the gimmick you have every 5
every
years.
5
you
years
gotta
you
send a
forget
postcard?
it's null and void, and materials warranty is usually prorated. So after about 10, 12 years, you're going to get a check for like $500, and that's the extent of the warranty, and then you don't have a labor warranty on it. So with us, you call our office.
Right.
That's it.
And that just, again, it's going into that that negative aspect of using a contractor for anything. It's normally stuff like that you have to jump through as a homeowner, where you're just trying to do the best thing that you could for your house, whether that's interior or exterior, and you run into those situations all the time. And normally the homeowner gets the short end of the stick, and it's just
because they're inexperienced. They don't,
exactly.
Like you said, they're looking at something going, well, you wrote a bunch of things down. Of course I agree, because I don't want to ask questions, and then the frustration comes. You didn't understand what you bought, and then you got something and you're not happy with it, but you don't know how to convey that. Like, you should have started in the beginning and said, I don't understand.
Right. And we want to absolve any of that right from the get go. We from our marketing efforts to our sales efforts, we want to make sure that folks know that they can trust us. Not just for what they're getting presented to right now with their roofing needs, but if they do decide to purchase, they can trust us for the next the longevity, whether they're in the house or if they that's their forever home, that the roof above them is it's going to be good to go. And there's a company behind it too.
Well, I'm glad you said that last part, because when I'm looking at it from a consumer's angle, or even from a marketing angle, there are a lot of companies out there. Like, I used to deal with a roofing company as well, and it was the top of the ladder did not looked at everybody else as they were like underlings. Mm. So when there were problems on a job site, it was the sales manager who might have sold the job, and they had to resolve what happened because some 1099 employee went out and did the gig. So there was no accountability.
Right.
But you can run all the commercials you want, and you can say quality, choice, selection, guarantee. But if the consumer doesn't get what they want, their only thing they can do is call in and complain and give you a bad review on Google.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But you have that roof that still isn't right, so you have to pay again to get it done.
Right.
How many times are you going to have to come in because somebody else blew something up?
What,
like someone came in and they did it based on price. So like, this guy will do it for, you're quoting me 8 and this is 2. I mean, I know that Andrew can tell, because you've said this before, but you can identify the shingles just from ground floor and go, those are all wrong and those are going to rot, right?
Yeah, those are, organic or discontinued shingle, or just like a new build that's got a cheaper 3-tab shingle. There's things that people do. I'm like, and you just think, you just make a noise because you're just overwhelmed with the people not knowing what they're buying or paying for, and their roof lasts 12 years, and you're like, I'm sorry, but because you want to save yourself $3,000 or $4,000, your roof isn't going to last 20 years. I'm going to redo it again. Or you got a crew that's not even around, you can't contact a company, or you don't even know who the company is, or it's one of those situations where somebody rolling through town because we got a hailstorm in 2007 that the company's not around anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing that would be frustrating.
So we give, that's what we give, the insurance and the assurance. The insurance that your roof is going to be covered, and the assurance that we're going to be around when it needs.
The insurance and the assurance. Who told you?
He's good,
that?
isn't he? He's good.
I feel like somebody told him that on the drive over. Don't forget to say
he heard it on the radio beforehand.
So your job, basically, how far out do you plan? Because you got to get that funnel filled. Right now, it is, it's constantly snowing, and the snow is going to stop, I think, in August. But you've got to fill that sales funnel one way or another, right? So people are depending on you. How far out do you plan?
Full disclosure, probably not as far out as we should.
I thought I was going to say I have not planned anything.
No,
we're starting tomorrow.
We do a This is step one.
What are you doing later today? I need your help.
This is actually our first.
Actually, I only got 5 more minutes because I got no. We do a good job before the next. So at the end of 2017, we were making all of our preparations to how we were going to tackle 2018. Because we know that. We were wanting to grow into some new markets going into the new year. Well, that takes a lot of time and preparation, to plan for. If we want to put on our website and, create content around those markets specifically, you can't do that and, make that decision and then have it be up on the website or the ads ready the next day. So I think we do a good job at forecasting. And then eventually, once we have all those assets in place and kind of have all of our swim lanes of how we're going to advertise and where and for how much and the frequency, there's a point where the machine kind of just runs itself and you need to pivot accordingly. So, we work with a couple different agencies for creative and paid media. We make efforts to change something if we, see that it's not performing well, whether that be a display ad someone sees on a website or, we'll be on a couple different stations in the markets that we service. If those spots aren't doing well at a certain time, or so we it's nice to be in a position where instead of creating something, we can just kind of fine-tune what's working.
Well, I think it's cool. The only reason I ask is one of the things that we talk about, and you would know if you haven't heard this show, is that when you're planning something, you have to plan a year ahead. Like typically for the clients we deal with, we're always 2 years out. Because like you said, you can make adjustments. I can't make adjustments. It's kind of like I can't practice my jump shot in the second quarter. I better have had it ready to go before I get here. And a lot of people will make the mistake of they won't know where they want to be marketing wise, or they have this plan and it's not working and they peel off altogether.
Right.
I mean, if you pull off, people think you're out of business.
Yeah, and being in 6 different markets, 2 of which are outside of Ohio, we don't have the luxury to, have to scrap something and then or be in a position where we got to get something out within the next couple of days.
Right.
So because it needs to go through so many different channels of our advertising and marketing efforts, down to the folders with all of the inserts that the salesman will bring into the customer to present. Those need to be designed and printed and mocked up for different markets, and it's just the granular stuff takes a lot longer.
I don't think the consumer actually knows all the pieces and parts that go. They just go, oh, it's on the radio, or it's on TV, or
Right.
it's on the website.
Yeah.
Like they just think you just kind of slap it together, but that stuff takes a long time.
Right. And digital marketing now, it's such a wild west. You create ads based on certain keywords and certain elements to boost your search engine optimization for your website. So when we create new pages for our new offices like Indianapolis and Dayton this year, we're not just writing content to fill a web page. We're strategically creating content so when folks look up roofing in those new markets, will pop up, or even our paid media ads, all that stuff. It's so frustratingly complex now. The headline means more than the sub. The sub headlines.
It used to be easy. 20 years
Yeah.
would be just give me your 60-second spot and we'll just run this 40 times a week.
Yeah,
and we'll see how it goes.
Exactly. Or what do you look like in the yellow pages? That was so big back in the day.
Right.
But now it's people aren't. They're just searching on their on
Their
their
phones,
computer or their
yeah.
device, and a phone number pops up when you put in that business on the right hand side normally, and you just click to call. So it's and then you think about that and the simplicity of it, but then you realize there's 10 to 15 other competitors who are trying to do the same thing, and if not more. And so it's a nice challenge. Keeps me going.
Do you really only have 5 minutes or a couple minutes?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say we're going to have a break, and I wanted to talk about the technology aspect of what you guys.
Sure.
I think this is a real difference maker for what you guys are doing versus your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also a cool thing for the consumer. Why don't we go ahead and take a break right now? And you're listening to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. I'm serious now. Like you had something good going. I'm like, okay, I want to get that rock.
Oh no, it was the planning thing.
I gotta
go. I know, I gotta go.
No, that's why. But I didn't want to be on. I didn't have another choice to say. Are you serious, bruh?
Bruh.
What?
I'm so hungry right now.
He wants to go have lunch.
Me too.
I'm so hungry.
What are you actually going to eat when you get out here?
Ground turkey and rice.
God, you're fun. All right, so I want to get back into the technology thing.
You got about
Come back,
14 more minutes.
Yeah, that's cool. And I want to. So, how does Robin apply for like Andrew's level, or it just is is it kind
It's
of
a
like
completely different ball game.
okay,
Like it's not really something not a facet that the sales.
like you won't see it?
Spoiler alert for Andrew. We eventually want to give like the the front-facing tool, like the virtual reality element, to the salesman. So if like a homeowner wants a salesperson and not the Robin element, you know, Andrew will go in and do his thing, but he'll end up giving them like the virtual pitch book. Say, here's what the Feazel roof entails. I'm gonna go up on and inspect your roof, and but here's a presentation essentially.
Cool.
So it's like it's the new form of, like, you know, companies giving you like a promo videotape or DVD,
Right.
you know,
I
that you
remember
can
those
pop
days.
in, you know. So this is a new element of that.
What was I gonna ask you about that? Give me 1 second, Jimmy. I'm trying to find
All
out
right.
what I was going to ask him. Oh, is this technology that you guys created, or this exists like in roofing companies, and you're just kind of? So this is yours.
This is ours. Yeah.
Okay,
Do
good.
we buy it? Or we founded it? Or
No, we've had a company that put together a virtual reality thing for us, and
Which is fine.
we made all the.
What-
We didn't like bought it. We didn't buy like a VR thing, but
Okay.
the software that was created is ours.
Okay.
My question was like Nielsen or something. Like some people subscribe, some people don't. But whoever first put that thing together, it would be, if you don't have Nielsen or Arbitron, you can't prove what your ratings are. Whereas like I don't know if somebody will see what they're doing and they'll say, "Oh, I want it," and then it's just Robin is what it's called throughout every company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Robin is strictly your name for it.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Jimmy, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace. And I did not mess it up this time. Madison's not here, but he always catches me when I mess that up. Back again with guys from Feazel. Andrew, who's always here. Rob Thomas.
You said that with such disdain. Andrew is
Andrew.
always
Well, here's the thing.
here.
I mean, while you're here, you guys work together. You should know that we're doing the show one day. First of all, you missed 2 shows in a row. No reason why. Just, bro, I forgot.
Right on Front Street.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen, that's what this show is about. Like, we were being very professional today. But 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, he posted a thing about Duck Donuts or some donut company while we're in the middle of the show.
I was at the office and I walked out and this is when we changed the time from 11 to Wednesday at noon, and I walked out and I pull up my phone and I see them like live streaming and they're on air, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
guess I'm not gonna
Yeah.
guess I'm not gonna be there
So I
today.
waited until we came back from commercial to berate him about not being here but eating donuts.
I legitimately was actually doing
hey,
things.
donuts are. I mean,
I
I
actually
mean, I
was,
kind of understand.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating those
Good,
donuts. I
good.
was just looking at them. I was eating my ground turkey and rice, and then I just took a little boomerang.
then I flew in and
Yeah.
stole his donuts.
Yeah, you're making everyone sad right now with that story. Stop
Boomerang.
stop telling sad stories. So, Rob, I wanted to get to something that again, when I panicked and thought you were going to leave in 5 minutes, I wanted to get this out. Something on your, can you tell people what that is? Because it's right at your
That's right.
website.
Yeah.
And Andrew had mentioned it, and I thought, that's an odd name for it. But
Yeah.
what is there a story behind that name?
There is, yeah. So Robin by Feazel is Robin is the we call her your virtual roofing guide.
Oh, kind of like Alexa. So Robin
exactly.
is like your
My guy, he got it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the stories behind the name too. Is that? But
So it also spies on you like the government does with Alexa, or this is just a roofing product?
just a roofing.
Oh, okay.
No data collection.
I'm
Yeah.
more excited about it now. So go on.
Yeah, so we, kind of touching on the idea that, this is normally a purchase that folks aren't excited about. We came up with the idea and premise to sort of streamline the sales process. So with Robin, a customer can go on the website, submit their information, in terms of their home. We send a drone operator that comes out to the house, flies a drone, captures imagery of your roofing system. We then upload those images into some applications that we use internally to calculate the materials needed, the pitch of the roof, any other factors that might go into estimating, and then send you a estimate, all without the need of meeting with a salesperson. So when a customer just wants the price of their roof in a little bit more of a streamlined fashion, we can utilize, or they can utilize Robin for that. While the drone operator is at the house, and this is kind of the cool aspect, is they'll drop off a pair of mobile virtual reality goggles, and we then send a customer a link. They can open that link in their mobile device, put the phone in the goggles and then view a Feazel roof replacing and how we do our roof replacements in virtual reality, and then at the end of that experience they get the estimate of what it would cost to replace their roof. So
people can do this right now.
Right now. Yep.
Wild stuff.
Well, I'm trying to, like, as I'm picturing this, I'm like, oh, that's like that Ready Player One. I'm like,
yeah.
You can just put these glasses on and you can see a whole new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the VR experience takes you through, not just the roof process, but what Feazel does specifically and how that differentiates from maybe some of our competitors in terms of the materials that we use, or how we, getting into the fine details, how we install a valley on roofing systems, or the type of nails that we use on each shingle and how many nails we use. We go over all of that because the customer can then know the entire process from start to finish.
Well, it's so much better than looking at it on a piece of paper and saying, I don't understand. If you understand something that you're visually seeing,
right,
you can ask questions as you're going.
Mm-hmm. So the customer does all of it in the mobile virtual reality experience. You traverse through each step of the process by sort of moving your head in the goggles, and there's a little button that will turn green when you get advanced to the next scene. So it's all controlled right there. There's no buttons to push or voice commands or anything.
So you're just making roofing fun is what you're doing.
That's what we're trying to do, yeah.
And you're the only one that has this.
That's right.
I mean, not you personally, but your company, Feazel.
No, it's mine. No, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, and at the end of the experience, they're presented with the estimate to what it would be to replace their roof, and then we follow up with them as soon as possible. Typically, it's within 24 hours. We like to make sure that they're one, not having any questions, but two, if they want to move forward. And then if they have any questions after that, we don't just kind of hang it out to dry. We'll send one of our guys out to consult with the customer, answer any questions that might be had. If there's something that maybe in the estimate they want to pivot on, whether it's different shingles or colors or everything, we'll have that discussion after. But initially, getting an estimate to replace their roof, we want to make that as simple as possible for the customer, and not no discredit to my man Andrew over here.
Oh,
but
totally. From my point of view, discredit to you.
Completely.
Totally.
Chopped off the knees.
Yeah.
Don't even need me anymore.
But try to not have a scenario where they have to schedule a time maybe a week out and take work off or leave early, or pivot plans that they might have to do personally. They can do it within the confines of their own home. We kind of toyed around, like, get a roofing estimate in your pajamas, or don't take off work to get a roof quote.
Yeah, because we schedule stuff out. We have to schedule stuff out a week ahead of time for an appointment, and then it could snow in the middle of March, end of March.
Yeah.
And people have already taken off work, and they're irritated at something. They're irritated at the weather because they know I can't climb on their roof. But when I go to reschedule, that irritation actually is now back at me. They're mad with me, even though it snowed last night and I would love to just be able to be on the roof and work. So that kind of alleviates some of that stuff where people may have tight schedules and they go to work at 7 in the morning and don't get home until 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then they have a weekend. They don't really want to screw with this on the weekend. Sometimes I think the process is going to be a little bit more involved. And I know with other companies, you're doing your due diligence, but people build up in their head more of what it is, what they think it is, than what it actually is. This is kind of a way to alleviate that a little bit. We can make it really easy, and
it's just cool that you don't even have to be there.
No,
I mean,
right.
I can't think of any other purchase that you could make, whether you enjoy it or not, that you don't have to be there. And here's what it's going to look like. Here's your estimate. Here's everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the future of that? Because I know it's in its infancy, but what's the future of that? I would think that would make Andrew's job, or anybody else that does that, I would think that would make it so much easier.
For sure. And, we know that while this is a solution and a product that, I've just been floored about since the inception of the idea. But we know that this isn't for everybody. We know that there are personalities and buying personas that they want to talk to somebody. They want that interaction. Yeah, they want to.
Well, I would think they would want to know that the only bad part is the human interaction. If you cut it out, it's like you're not really building that
The
rapport.
which is
And that
very, that's like the
we
number
all
one.
did.
That's
All
what-
three
yeah.
of us reported.
That's
No, and that's super important. And, that's why while the customer can get that estimate without having to meet with a salesperson in the beginning, we don't just, send them down this invisible pipeline that they've never talked to somebody. So after, if and when they want to purchase, we still will, have someone come out personally and physically, a real human being to the home and
At least you think so.
yeah, verify the all the elements of the roofing system, sign any documents that might need be, or answer any questions, but they're going to do that in person, at that point too. So this is just the first step of the process where people want to know what they're getting into and how much it's going to cost. That's what we're hoping to fix and make a little bit more fun.
I was just thinking if I was you, I would almost go out and kind of canvass neighborhoods and instead of putting door hangers, or if you guys still do that. I know that was a thing that my house in New Albany, I got a door hanger every day, and I was like, nope, I'm letting this roof fall in. I want the insurance money. But what would keep you from doing it already? Just kind of taking these shots and having it saved in case someone called. I'm not saying you're doing that.
Right.
I'm just
Are we
saying.
legally allowed to do that?
That's a good question.
Um,
Don't do it until we know that answer. I was not suggesting that. I was just saying it would be a cool thing if somebody.
You get a lot of people that might get freaked out.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Google. What is the thing on Google Maps? Like, if I
Google
know you're
Earth,
at
yeah.
Google Earth, I can find like exactly where your house is.
Yeah, a lot of people's information is already public knowledge. They just don't know how to search for it. But we already use stuff that's satellite imagery. When I tell people, yeah, I'm not going to take any like tape measurements up there. I'm going to do everything with an overlay of your house and label it as such. Like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, we don't do like any tape measurements or a lot more than 1% accuracy by doing this. Feazel, that's been the biggest change when changing companies is the amount of tools in my tool belt. There's all kinds of things we can do to kind of meet different sales personas, to expand, I guess, our range of who we can meet. And we're not going to show up and be your roofers with a crappy truck and 15 business cards in our hands to hand you, and holes in our jeans and teeth missing and our breath smelling. And
You're really painting a picture over here.
I'm trying. We're the complete opposite of that. And we try to come off as that.
You are pretty boys, I'll give you that.
So yeah, I just noticed a big, I guess, commitment level to always having the best things available for the salesman to be able to do our job.
Well, that's a lot of technology and a lot of investment in technology. Like, that seems like that's the future of any service that you have to get done on your home. I was thinking of the different applications that you could use that for.
Well, you can right now. You can get on Amazon or IKEA, their mobile app, and you can use what's called augmented reality, where you can select let's say a chair from IKEA, and allow the application to use your phone or use the camera on your phone, and it'll bring up, you open up your camera essentially, and then it'll put like a computer generated image of that chair, so you can see what it's going to look like.
Will
Yeah.
I be doing that?
You
No.
can see what that item would look like in your home, in that space, before you even walk into the door.
Good thing I don't need a chair.
So this is, there's definitely some tools and some investments in technology, that are being like widespread from a retail standpoint. We're trying to sort of put ourselves in the mix of that, so you can see what your roofing system will look like in a different shingle style or in a different color in this virtual reality setting, and get that so many elements of retail, whether you're buying a notebook or bottled water or anything off of Amazon these days, what you're getting into. Going back to the problem with contractors and construction is like it's always this black hole of information. You never know what it's going to cost until you go through the whole thing. And we're trying to, for the people that want to utilize it and want that information a lot
You're
faster,
alleviating that pain.
we're alleviating
Answering
that friction.
You're answering a lot of questions before they even have to ask questions, which is a
What
key to
takes you
like,
being
good
all
sales.
smart at the end of the show?
Turning
Speaking
on my
of-
last little bit of energy from being hungry, and now it's Will Ferrell in Old School when he's just
Thanks for bringing it in minute 59 of 60. Rob, we are out of time, but tell people, we didn't even tell them, how could they get a hold of you or Feazel?
So we can, anybody, you can go to feazellink.com and schedule a free inspection right there. If you're more interested in the Robin element, it's feazellink.com/Robin. And again, all they have to submit is their address information, and we'll reach out to them with a couple of emails and a phone call, and just let them know that someone would go out to the house and get the roof estimate process started.
And if you want a chair, IKEA.com.
That's right, IKEA, or I think Amazon uses it now too. So.
Well, we're not plugging them.
Oh yeah, they don't need any plugging right now.
Yeah. Andrew loves Amazon. All right, boys. Well, that's it for this week. Rob, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And thank God that Madison wasn't here, and let's hope he's gone next week. All right, you've been listening to the 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
Madison might be watching on Facebook.
I felt like,